Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Black Women Amplified, the podcast. Your host, Monica Wisdom Tyson, brings you downloadable conversations that matter to women around the globe. We discuss all things Black girl magic, amplify our voices, and transform our challenges into triumphs. Monica calls on her League of Extraordinary Women to push our boundaries, share their expertise, and stories of personal transformation. Welcome, your host of Black Women Amplified, Monica Wisdom Tyson.
Hello, Black Women Amplified family. This is Monica Wisdom coming your way. Thank you for joining the Black Women Amplified podcast. If I sound a little chill today, it's because I've spent the last couple of hours preparing the final episodes of this series, The Soft Life is Political. I want to make sure I get it right, that I'm helpful, and that we end the series strong. So I'm here, I'm ready, and there's a lot going on in the world, and I just want to offer a dose of positivity that we can still remain focused on ourselves and remain focused on the bigger picture for Black women. It's easy to get caught up in all the things that are happening, and it's easy to feel hopeless during this time. But I just want to remind you that we hold a power greater than even our own understanding. And we have a power that is greater than most people even know about. And I'm talking about the great one, God. And so it's important that we focus on that, whatever that is for you. For me, it's sweet baby Jesus and God above. And so I lean into my faith at these times. I was reading the Bible and praying before I even started this episode, just to make sure that I'm clear and that what God wants me to share is what I share. Because this series is not about me at all. I'm sharing my stories, but in a way that is helpful to the conversation and in a way that helps everybody. And that's why I encourage people to share their stories, because the more we share, the more we get to know each other and the more we get to understand one another. Because as oftentimes we make assumptions about our people, situations and things that people are going through. But I always hark back, and this has nothing to do with the conversation, but I always hark back to the movie Crash. If you have not seen Crash, you haven't seen it in a long time, I suggest you watch it sometime during this week and have an understanding that everybody's going through something, right? Everybody's going through something. I'm going through stuff. You're going through stuff. The world is going through stuff. Your city's going through stuff. All the things are happening at the same time, but it doesn't have to permeate us in a way that makes us be out of character. So I'm hoping that these conversations, my prayer is that these conversations will help us align ourselves with our bigger purpose and our bigger calling, so that we're not as impacted by what's happening in the world and the people that are coming at us. Because as Black women, we know that they are coming at us, but they always have come at us. There's nothing new to this game. They're not smart enough to outsmart us. So I say all that to say this series is out of love. It's out of appreciation to the women who have guided me and helped me, from my besties to my family, my aunts, to the women who have mothered me along the way, to the teachers that I've had, to the people who believed in me in business. And so this is a dedication to the women who have helped me walk my journey, because I've had a tough road, as we have talked about. And to all the women who have helped you along your journey. This is dedicated to them. And it's dedicated to you. It's dedicated to you, because I could be talking about anything. I could be talking about Real Housewives. If I talked about Real Housewives, I had 10 times more listeners. I would have a bigger platform if I talked about the nonsense that was happening on shows like that. Yes, it's nonsense. So if you're caught up in your feelings by what I said, you'll be okay. But I really have a calling and a purpose to facilitate deeper conversations. And that's the lane I'm going to stay in. It would be easier if I watched a television show and talked about it, and I will. But it'll be shows that I love, like The Residents or Matlock or, 227, which I watch when I need to just escape from the world. But this conversation is about being Gen X, about being at this big age and really embracing it. And those moments where we look over our life and say, you know what, this is where I am now. I'm not where I was. I might not be where I want to be, but this is where I am now. So in this series, The Soft Life is Political, it's time to talk about where we are as Black women when in times like these, we choose ourselves over everything else. Because for too long, we've been told that our value lies in what we do and not in who we are, in our ability to hustle and to sacrifice and to give endlessly. But what happens when we decide that the hustle is no longer our way? What happens when we choose peace, joy, and abundance instead? So we'll explore how age, experience, and wisdom are part of the power that we carry as we move forward in this phase of life. The one that's not about doing more, but about being more. I remember when everything came to a halt, when the world paused in 2020. I remember getting that text. And I was working in a salon at the time, and I remember getting that text saying that everything was going to shut down at this time. Now, a friend of mine was a friend with somebody, and he called me probably about 3 weeks earlier and said, I need you to go to the grocery store. He said, don't ask me any questions. Don't say anything. Just do what I tell you to do. I don't need your mouth. Because I'm the quickest one to be like, well, why I got to do that? He said, just do what I say to do. So he told me, he said, I need you to go to the grocery store and buy 2 weeks worth of food. And mind you, this is a person that we talk occasionally, but those are the moments when you realize that you're close to somebody's heart, even though you're not necessarily somebody you talk to all the time, right? And we act like brother and sister. We argue all the time. So I probably wasn't talking to him at the time, but I listened because his voice was stern, like it needs to be when you need me to be quiet. So he said, I need you to go to the grocery store and I need you to buy 2 weeks worth of food. And I was like, Lord, because I like eating. I had developed a habit of going to the grocery store like every 2 or 3 days because I like fresh food and I don't like to cook. So I would just go pick something up at the grocery store. I had this small grocery store by my job and I would go pick up food to eat for the next couple of days and then I would go back. And so that was my lifestyle at the time. So anyway, I was like, okay, so what did my mama buy when she didn't have a lot of money? And she needed food. So I was like, okay, I need to go buy stretch food. So I bought canned food, tuna fish, and, stuff you buy when you have kids. I don't have kids, so I don't have to buy that type of stuff, or I didn't. And so I went and bought stretch food. Okay, what is not going to perish in 2 weeks, or if it lasts longer? So I'm thinking. I bought all this tuna fish. I bought just soup and all kinds of stuff, dried food, canned food, all the things. You remember when we were kids, if you're Gen X, and there was always a looming, something was going to happen. And so we had to have provisions at home. So my dad always brought home a bunch of canned soup and all the things that was already pre-cooked. And if you didn't have heat, you could just eat out of the can. So he was always ready. He wasn't one of those doomsday people, but he was just, well, since I'm at the store, let me buy 20 cans of soup. So anyway, I had to go back to those days and buy the things. And so when the world came, when it finally got the call, and there was another warning from somebody who was in the salon, and he came in and said that he said this in February, which is how I knew that they knew what was about to happen, but didn't tell us, but that's a whole other conversation. And he told us he was prepared to stay home for the next 6 months. And I thought, oh, he's crazy. Ain't nothing about to happen. Well, little did I know that around this time in 2020, the whole world was going to shut down. The world paused. And so did everything that used to entertain me. There were no more events. I was a socialite. I was the one going to the concerts, the book signing, hanging out with my bestie, hanging out with my god kids, hanging out with my family. And so none of that was around. There was no more hustle because I couldn't go to work. I wasn't an essential worker. So I had to stay home. And it was scary because it was not anything that I had ever experienced before. Nobody had. We had no idea what was going on. And we had the same administration that we have now. I don't even want to get in that conversation, but there was no more hustle. There was no more outsized noise, just me and my thoughts and the stillness I had been avoiding for a long time. At first, I fought it. Like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know when I could go back to work. There were no answers to any questions. And people around were dying, and there was seemingly no help. And so we were all in a big state of being lost and confused. But it got quiet. It got really quiet. And at first I fought it. For about a month, I was like, I got to do something because I'm just trying to stay mentally well. So I did a couple of things. I called a couple of girlfriends and was like, can we have weekly calls? And then I asked my uncle, would he call a family call? So we could have at least talk to each other every week, just to stay in contact and stay close because we were all at home. And actually, my family and I have been doing that. It's been 5 years now. Every Sunday we have a call. We don't make every call, but every Sunday we have a call. And so that kept me together mentally. But that stillness was challenging for about a month. And because I wasn't used to being still. I wasn't used to being quiet. But eventually I just stopped resisting it and started listening. And I started listening to my heart. And in the silence of that listening, I remembered all that I had lived, all that I have survived, and all that I've learned. And in that moment, I realized that the wisdom that I had been looking for in the outside world was what was within me, right? All the things that I had been seeking, reading the books, going to the seminars, there were no webinars at the time, well, not like now, but going to the seminars, the book signings, the lectures, all the things, trying to find that knowledge that would course correct me. But what I realized in that silence, just like the Wizard of Oz, everything I needed was already within me. And it has always been there. For a while, I had been running from the fact that I was no longer in my 20s. I was no longer that young. And I was constantly trying to prove my worth. Constantly. And because I didn't feel worthy. And I've talked about it on this podcast. But in that silence, once I surrendered, because I did surrender to the silence, I did surrender to the moment, and I fully embraced trusting God in this time. There's always a silver lining. And when I finally surrendered, miracles started happening. And one of the things that happened was a woman that I met I don't know how she connected with me, but she asked me to be on her podcast. I had never been on a podcast before. She asked me to be on her podcast. I think I was on Instagram talking about a visioning process that I had developed. One day I'll put it out to the public, but I talked about it on her podcast. And then, but this was before that time. But during that time, she and her podcast partner, Clubhouse had just come out, right? Clubhouse had just come out, and it was an audio platform, and she wanted to do a online talk show. And I was thinking, who wants to listen to me talk? Who wants to, let me pull up off my desk so you don't hear all those noises, but who wants to hear me talk? I didn't think I had anything to say that was that profound, but okay, let's do it. And when I said yes, it truly became a beautiful journey because it opened up a new chapter for me. One where I just started to really step into my purpose. And in a space where my age became an asset. My age was not holding me back. I didn't have to be 20 in this moment. I just had to be the age that I was, acknowledge the experiences that I had, and be willing to share them with other people. Here's the thing, for too long, Black women, we've been expected to hold everything together while carrying the weight of the world. We've been taught to make ourselves small to fit in. I know that feeling of packing me into this small space. And to give more than we take, just be humble and sit back. We give up parts of ourselves for the sake of others. But the soft life is about rejecting those outdated expectations. Age doesn't make you irrelevant, it makes you wise. Your years of experience, that's your power. The softness we're embracing isn't about doing less. It's about doing less of what drains us and what does not feed our soul. Because, honey, we need to be nourished. And this time, the social pressures that we have felt, we're untethering from. And that untethering, that awakening, happened on November the 5th, 2014, when those election numbers came in. And psychically, we said, okay, you got it. I'm going to focus on me. And we chose ourselves for the first time as a community. We decided we're going to focus on creating the lives we love and unapologetically step into who we are. Now, I want you to do something, because I've heard conversations where people are like, what do I do with myself? Okay, is it time to step back in? Is it time to stay out? Are we still boycotting? Are we not boycotting? What do I do? But I remind you, this is about a way of being. The soft life is about your way of being where you choose yourself, whatever that is for you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do something that's going to have a profound effect on you. And it's just one simple question I want you to ask yourself. I want you to take a moment to reflect. Close your eyes and think about your journey. And I want you to ask yourself, if I believe that my age was an asset, what would I build from here? If I truly believe my age was an asset, the life that I built is an asset, the place that I am right now is an asset, where would I build from here? Meaning, not reliving our 20s and not reliving our 30s, but looking at life from where you are right now and all the things that you have accomplished and all the things that you still want to accomplish. So let that question sink in. And what will your dreams look like if you weren't worried about being too old or past your prime, as they tell us? If you still feel like you got that sexy that drive and that freedom that you've always wanted? What would you create if you truly believe that your wisdom was your greatest strength? So write it down, speak it, and claim it. This is your time to rewrite your story. You know, want to know why? Because the world is not waiting for you to burn out. It's waiting for you to burn brightly on your own terms. So in closing, I want to say, understand that where you are now, what we're experiencing now is perfect divine timing. And in this moment, you get to open your heart up to a new way of life. And it's going to feel strange to put yourself first, because it felt strange to me for a long time. And putting yourself first is not selfish. It's self-full. You get to fill yourself up with the love and the joy and the respect that you have deserved your whole life. It's not about saying no to people and the things that you love to do. It's about creating boundaries and setting standards in a whole new way from where you are right now. Because you know your boundaries and your standards were different in your 20s, in your 30s, and in your 40s. They're completely different. And if you're above 50 like me, it's a 180. It is a 180. So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself that question. If I believe my age was truly an asset, what would I build from here? And I want you to understand that this moment, there's a lot going on, but you can choose silence. You can choose to disconnect from all of the noise that's happening in the world. And if just for a moment, and if just for a weekend, if just for a week, you said, I'm just going to focus on me. And then you go at a day, at an hour, at a minute, so that you can truly step into your power and understand your wisdom and your place and what you have to contribute to the world. Because you, honey, you have lived. And this isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of a new book. So this is an opportunity to close those chapters that no longer serve you. And this is a chance to pull out your paper and begin writing that dream that you have always wanted. Because no longer do we have the obligation to forge that path for an entire community. Now you get to write what your journey is from this moment forward. So before we close out, I want to thank you for sharing this moment. And if this message landed in your spirit, hold on to it and come back whenever you need a reminder that you're not behind. You're in exactly the place you need to be in. Your wisdom is your power. Your age is your asset. And the story that you're writing, co-creating, is unfolding beautifully, boldly, and on your own terms. The soft life is political because we choose to live life on our own terms. We're choosing freedom. We're choosing our future. And we're choosing joy. And guess what? We're just getting started. So thank you for joining this episode of the Black Women Amplified podcast. Don't forget to take a moment to visit our website, www.blackwomenamplified.com. And you can visit our shop and buy some t-shirts, hats, anything to connect to the tribe. And we also have the curated life section where I have some of my favorite things for business and for life that you can check out. And so we're going to continue this series. We have 3 more episodes, episodes 6, 7, and 8. And they're going to go even deeper into this conversation. So if this struck a chord with you and you know a friend who needs to hear these words or you want to share it, just text, get the link, text it out to them and say, hey, I just thought you would be interested in this. And if you are so inclined, please rate and review on your favorite podcast platform that you're using, what you're listening to now. Just go into the settings, leave a review, rate us, because it helps to get the word out. So anyway, thank you for this moment. Thank you for listening to the series. And remember, your life, your choice, your power. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Black Women Amplified. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe and log on to blackwomenamplified.com for more information. Keep shining.